Berachos Daf Min Daf. The Mishnah tells us that when you eat a main food and the secondary food as well, you make one bracha on the main food, and the secondary food is part from a bracha. 99% of the time when you eat bread, bread is the main food. The Mishnah tells us that there's an exception to the rule. Peiros genoisar. These are extremely sweet fruit that are found in Eretz Yisrael. So when you eat them, they're so sweet you have to add salt to diminish the taste, and you eat a little bread with it. That bread is a tuffle, and you don't make a bracha on that bread. The Gemara tells us that Rabbi Yochanan loved these fruit very much, and his Talmidim would bring him 1,000 of these fruits at a time, and he would eat them all, and he would swear that he's not even satiated. Rabbi Vo, he would eat them until a fly that would land on his forehead would slide right off from the oil. Rabbi and Rabbi would eat so many of these that they would have hair loss. Their hair would simply fall out of their head. Rish Lakish would eat so many of them that he would become delirious, he would become shikker. Rabbi Yochanan had to call in the authorities to have them drive him home. The Gemara tells us about Eretz Yisrael. Yana had a city that had so many figs that he needed that many employees to pick the figs that they needed 600,000 bowls of tuna per week. Yana had a tree that had so many birds in it that he would take 3 times a month 40 saw of chicklings out of the tree. There was a city called Gufnis that had 80 pairs of kohanim that married 80 twin kohanim girls. And the Gemara says it's so rare that it only happened once. The Rav Chizda's twin daughters, and he was a kohen, married 2 brothers who were Yisraelim, which were Rami Bar Chama and Ukva Bar Chama. A meal without salt is not considered a meal. A meal without soup is not considered a meal. Says the Mishnah. Gamliel holds that when you eat Shivas Haminim, you have to make a Birkas Hamazon. You have to bench. Why? Because the pasuk of Shivas Haminim comes 2 psukim before V'chalta v'savato v'irachta, the pasuk about Birkas Hamazon. Chacham say yes, but there's a pasuk in between, and that separates them. And that says that when you eat Shivas Haminim, you only have to make Ala Michya. Gamliel says the pasuk in between comes to tell us that if you chew wheat, you don't bench on that. If you drink water because you're thirsty, Tarvin says you make a shahakal and you make a boirei nefashis. So we're going to see soon there's a machlokes whether you make a bracha at all, bracha chreina on water. The ala michya on fruit is very similar to how we do it today. There are a few variations, very minor variations. We say shuratzis over here. The Gemara doesn't. And on the 5 minim of grain, we know that in Rosh Chodesh, we finish off the bracha, Mekadesh Yisrael Rosh Chodashim. That's 2 things that we say. Do we say the same 2 things? We say 2 things in Al Michya. For instance, according to Rav Chizda, in Chutz La'aretz you say Ala Oretz Val Periseh, according to one lashon. In other words, you're benching the fruit of Eretz Yisrael. And Rabbi Yochanan in Eretz Yisrael would say Ala Peris in general. And Rabbi Nachman said we have to flip that around. That in Chutz La'aretz you say Ala Peris, our fruit. We're not going to bench. We ate fruit here. We're not benching about the fruit in Eretz Yisrael. In Eretz Yisrael you say Al Periseh. Rabbi Yehuda Bar Avdima says that when it comes to vegetables and water, there's no bracha achrona. You don't make a bar nefashis. Rabbi Yitzchak says there is by vegetables, but you don't make a bracha achrona on water. And Rav Papa says you do make a bracha achrona, a bar nefashis on water and on vegetables. The Mishnah Nida says there is a bracha. There are things that need a bracha beforehand, but not afterwards. According to Rav Papa, everything needs a bracha afterwards, even water. He must say that's referring to mitzvahs. You do a mitzvah, you don't make a bracha when you're done. Although in Eretz Yisrael they would make brachas when one would remove his tefillin and his tzitzis, they would say a bracha. So we must say that according to the Manda Omar, is referring to smell. When you smell something, you make a bracha beforehand. You don't make a bracha afterwards. The Gemara tells us that an egg is healthier than any other food. If it's lightly roasted, it's better than 3 dozen egg worths of flour. And if it's completely cooked, it's the best food in the world besides meat. Meat, the same size of an egg, would have the same nutrient value. A spleen, says the Gemara, is good for your teeth, but very bad for your intestines. What happens if you eat it? You should chew it and spit it out. Leek is bad for your teeth and bad for your intestines. What happens if you ate from it? You should swallow it. After bloodletting, you shouldn't eat raw vegetables. It causes the face to lose color. According to one lashon, raw vegetables, causes the person that eat them a lot of damage if you eat them within the first 4 hours of the day. Another lashon says that it causes damage to the person speaking to that person that ate it because of the foul odor. If you eat very small animals, in other words, animals that are supposed to grow to large size, and you ate an animal that's only 25% of its potential growth, it prevents a person from growing. Animals, live animals, bring life. So even if you eat a small fish, that brings life. If you eat from the throat area, which is where the life goes in, where you breathe from, that brings life, that revitalizes the body. And Rava was makbid to eat from the place of the shechita. The Gemara tells us there are 6 things that are medicinal, and that is cabbage. And the Gemara says not only is cabbage is a good medicine, but it also satiates a person. Beets, pennyroyal water, maw, a womb, and the diaphragm. Turnip is really bad for your health unless you eat it together with meat, according to one shita, according to another shita, unless you cook it really good. The Gemara calls it eitzim. And another shita, which is rava, if you eat it together with wine, then it's actually good for you. And that's why Rava would tell his servant, if you see turnips, don't ever ask me, just buy it, I would like to eat it. Have a wonderful day.